Hi there, my name is Jurri Schenck, and this is my wife, Alisha Choi. We are Legends of the Wind. We are a great team of creators where we use storytelling to help reveal and help people reveal their identity and destiny through fantasy and fairy tales and all sorts of genres and storytelling. Alicia here does an amazing job at her art and illustration and creating paintings for us. So welcome. Thank you very much for our first live broadcast. This is where I get to introduce you to my beautiful wife, Alisha Choi. Hey.
Thank you.
So we wanted to start off today to tell you that Legends of the Wind is its purpose is to enlighten your eyes. Meant to bring hope and courage on your hero's journey. And today we're going to be talking a special story called The New Kid. It's one where I discovered my voice, which I call fathering through film. And I worked with a bunch of kids in an elementary school class after school program at a church in Northridge, California, where I worked with teacher Linda LaRue. And so this story, The New Kid, was powerful because without me knowing, I wrote the story and I actually tapped into a situation that was in the community, in the school. So before we get to that story, I want to introduce Alicia to you. So thank you so much for coming on the show, for being with me. She has been such a huge support. She's the other half of this entire program. And why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi. Hi, my name is Alisha Choi, and then I'm a wife of Jurri and an illustrator. And some of my paintings in the show is mine, and so I'm trying to keep up with his story and try to make the Legends of Wind world more the things, the world that you can actually see and go and imagine, and so that's my job.
One of the great things about Alicia's paintings, about helping people's eyes open, is to see the worlds of the story and get sucked in. And it's almost like you can go there yourself. And one of the things we have as a preview print of our book, our first book, we have several volumes coming up called Legends of the Wind Volume 1. And this illustration she did on the cover is for the Fire Bear, which is one of our earlier episodes. And so today we're going to do a little bit different. We're not going to play a pre-recorded audio of the story. We're changing our format. So we're going to do story time and do some discussion afterwards. So today's story is about the new kid, about a little girl named Maddie and another little girl as well. And so let's check it out real quick. Won't be too long. The New Kid. One day at school in the afternoon, the new kid showed up for class. She was late. Her backpack had a broken zipper and she didn't have her books or notepads all together. She was, let's be honest, she was a mess. Her hair was unkempt and her face showed that she was not happy to be there. Once again, she was the new kid. This was another turn at another school, and she wondered again if she would have a friend, any friend at that. Well, the rest of the class was a riot, loud and ornery, and that poor teacher didn't know what to do. She yelled out, "Please sit down. Please get out your pencils and books together. Please, please, please." But the children would play and throw papers and create havoc by doing many unruly things. The teacher wanted to quit that day. Now, if any of you behave that way, have you ever acted that way in class? The teacher didn't know, but I don't know. But listen, there is a deeper story to tell here. The new kid walked in, and she took her seat as the teacher sighed and just told her to find an empty desk. The new kid sat down and she pulled out an apple, for she didn't have breakfast that day. She took a nibble and felt bad because people noticed her eating, so she put it away so that no one would take it from her. But sitting beside her was Maddie. Maddie had her brand new notebook and fashionable pencils. Her lunch was sitting in her bag, and it was full of goodies. Maddie loved school and enjoyed the many moments on the playground with her friends. Every day, pretty much, was a good day, but today was more special than all the others before. But it wouldn't happen at school, at least not yet. The day went on, the teachers taught, the boys fought, and the classes ended. Everyone was tired and wanted to go home. Maddie saw the new kid walking away from the school building and down the sidewalk. There was no bus for her. There was no car to pick her up. She had to walk home from school. Maddie stood in front of the school and looked up into the sky. The sun was shining and birds flew. Clouds dotted the sky. Maddie said a little prayer. "Papa, can you please help the new kid? I wish there was something we could do." Maddie stepped forward, and everything stopped in a rush. The birds held in midair. The flag on the flagpole was frozen in the wind. The children were all still, and the world stopped for Maddie. And the new kid, she was gone, for she had just turned the corner of the street. But Maddie could somehow move her feet. Her hair was still flowing, and she saw that everyone stopped in time but her. Bright lights and swirls of light came around her and lifted her up into the air. Maddie did not know what was going on. As she flew up into the air and spun around, she looked down and saw that her body was still standing, frozen on the ground below her. Something alarmed Maddie. Was she dead? What was happening? What was the spirit doing at this moment? The bright swirls of light took her higher and higher, and she flew over the neighborhood and over the buildings below. She even flew past a tall office building with shiny windows. As she flew by, she saw reflected in the windows the slight glow of swirls, but she wasn't there. She was invisible. Maddie was caught up in the realm of the spirit. In a flash, Maddie stood in front of a large, run-down house. The sun stood still, frozen in the sky, and all things were still. But in another flash, everything went forward. Zip, flash, whoosh. The sun flew backwards in the sky. The clouds flew backwards, and the sun reversed and went down into the horizon, and it became night. The moon zipped backwards, the wrong direction in the sky, and the stars spun around. And again, the whole time rotated backwards at least 7 times. Light and darkness spun around. And Maddie stood still in front of the house, and the spinning stopped. It was morning. A large station wagon pulled up in front of the house, full of furniture, boxes, and clothing. The dad hopped out and yelled at the other 3 children. One of them was the new kid. All 3 children worked hard and unloaded boxes after boxes from the car and brought them to the house while the dad just stood there and smoked a cigarette. While his children worked, only the furniture remained. He could not lift it. The dad threw his cigarette to the ground and smashed the butt, and with a huff of anger, he picked up the furniture and carried it into the house. Maddie was invisible. No one could see her, but she saw everything. In this moment, she could see what life the new kid lived. Maddie cried, "She has it so hard. I wish I could help her." And the entire world spun again. While it was spinning, the day and the night started forward again. We came to about 5 days later, and the swirls of light and wind picked up Maddie high into the air. She flew all over the neighborhood and came to the grocery store in the daytime. Maddie saw the new kid pushing a cart full of some groceries while the dad complained to a driver who had pushed a cart into his beat-up station wagon. The 3 kids picked up the groceries and put them in the car. The new kid picked up an apple, and she took a bite. The dad saw this and yelled, "Wait for dinner!" He slammed the car's door shut, and they drove off in a rush. Maddie could hear the girl's stomach growling. She thought, "I must cook her dinner." And again the world spun, and light and darkness, day and night, the whole sky shifted and changed. The glowing swirls of light picked up Maddie again. She flew higher and higher, up and down and around. The day was spinning and slowed down just as Maddie floated down in front of a beautiful store. It was a wonderful business full of candy, items, school supplies, sodas, medicine, magazines, and newspapers. It was quite convenient. And with a thud and a jingle, Maddie found in her pocket coins and some cash. It was $15. There were quarters, several dollar bills, and a $10 bill. She was rich for a little girl. And then a sweet smell came from inside the store. It was the wonderful aroma of popcorn and caramel candy. She was making breakfast at the food bar. Maddie went inside. She saw all the items. It was a gold mine of opportunity. She walked down the aisles, up and down, and seeing all sorts of things she could buy. Maddie couldn't decide. The many choices overwhelmed her. Down the aisle, she saw a mother and her son who was of kindergarten age. The boy grabbed a bright candy bar and tried to open it, but his mother stopped him and had him put it back on the shelf. "Here," she said, "drink your apple juice. I'll cook you dinner when we get home." Maddie thought about this. She had $15. She could do whatever she wished and whatever she wanted. But why? Didn't the money appear in her pocket? That's quite a trick now, isn't it? A huge fortune came her way. What would be of good use of it? But how? Maddie went back down the aisles and found a bunch of notebooks and pencils. She picked out the pretty ones, 3 in fact, and a box of the best pencils. She grabbed a pencil sharpener and a box of crayons. Down another aisle she found a comb and some hairspray, the good but cheap kind. She also found a small pocket mirror with the same color as the comb. It was a perfect match. She calculated the cost of her items and she found that she still had $3 left over. Maddie looked up and saw at the food counter a sign that said, "Ham and cheese sandwich with chips and drink, $4.50. Maddie frowned. Somehow she didn't have enough. What could she do? The person at the counter was busy. There was a line of people who wanted his popcorn and caramel candy, and boy, did it smell good. Maddie felt something rise up inside her. She stepped up in front of the line and spoke to the counterman. "Excuse me, sir, I have $3. Is there any sandwich you could give me for that amount? I need it to eat my lunch." The counterman didn't see her. He was too busy bagging popcorn. And someone in line yelled, "Hey, that girl cut the line. She's not supposed to be there." This got the counterman's attention. "Hey, little girl, go back to the end of the line." "But sir," said Maddie, "can you give me a sandwich? I only have $3. The people in the crowd got angry, and their faces were showing it. They grumbled and ground their teeth. Maddie wasn't sure what to do, but she determined to make a deal. The counterman answered, "Listen, little girl, can't you see that I'm busy? Why don't you come back some other time, eh? I got a lot of work to do." Maddie stood her ground. "I know I cut in line, but this is important. The food isn't for me." Well, the elderly couple that stood behind her spoke up. "Hey, counterman, give her whatever she wants. She's a good little girl." The crowd built in pressure, and the counterman gave in. All right, here, take a sandwich, chips, and why don't you have some of this caramel candy? I've got enough anyway. Now get out of here, kid, you're bothering me." Maddie slapped the $3 on the counter and took the food. She paid for the rest of the items and shot out of the store into the parking lot. And as she was running, she flew into the air with all her stuff. It was one more day before her release to be in the spirit. The sun set and the moon flew across the sky. The stars spun, and soon the sun rose into a beautiful light. Maddie flew and saw her mom's car driving down the street below. It was her mom's morning drive to take her to school. Maddie flew down and landed right back into her body in the car while her mom talked on the cell phone. She's back. Everything looked normal. It felt like any other day, but this time she knew what would happen before she experienced it. She knew when the light would turn green. She knew when the car across the street would almost hit the dump truck. It was all predictable. But she saw something she didn't notice before. It was the new kid walking down the street, and they were at least 4 miles from the school. Maddie cried out, "Stop the car, Mom, stop the car." "Honey, I'm on the phone. We'll be late. What's wrong?" Mom, quick, pull over there." Mom was a little upset, but she did what Maddie asked. "Do you need to throw up?" Mom pulled the car over to the sidewalk just as the new kid walked by. Maddie called out, "Hey, you." The new kid stopped and was uncomfortable. What? What do you want?" Maddie smiled. "You're going to the school down the road, right? I think I know you. You're the new kid, right? Want a ride?" Mom objected, but Maddie said, "It's okay, Mom. I know all about her." The new kid stepped up and looked at Maddie, who just smiled. "Sure, thanks." The new kid stepped inside, sat down, and buckled up. Maddie smiled. "I know it's a long way to school. It would take you hours to get there." And the new kid laughed, embarrassed. "My dad had to go to work on the other side of town." Maddie looked down at her backpack. Inside there were still all the items she bought at the store. Maddie asked the new kid, "Hey, I have these things to share. You might need them." She opened up her backpack and showed the new kid. "Oh, no, I couldn't. You can't give that. I don't deserve it." Maddie answered, "Listen, you have no idea how I got these for you. But how did you know?" Maddie smiled. "Time will tell, I guess." Maddie paused and pulled out an apple from the backpack. "Why don't we have some breakfast? Because you are the apple of my eye." The new kid took a big bite of the apple, and juice ran down her face as Maddie laughed, full of joy. Soon Maddie and the new kid arrived at school. The kids were still rowdy. The teachers were still overwhelmed. Everything seemed crazy, but Maddie made a new friend, and everyone welcomed the new kid into the school. Inceptio. There it is. How do you feel about it?
Well, it's a very nice story.
Why? What is it touching?
Well, it is. The story is telling me there's someone that's caring about me.
Someone sees you.
Yeah.
When you're not seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've read this story out loud to in Alicia's presence several times over in the past, and she still gets moved by it. And I wasn't sure if she'd be moved today, but she is. Would you mind telling the audience about how you and I met and how the new kid came across your life?
Oh, we met at Expression 58 in California. That we was like kind of entertainment people all gathered.
Mm-hmm.
So we were part of the church, and then I started painting there. And then at the time I had an art group. So I was looking for, people to join or something to do. And then at that time, I actually have a good amount of people wants to make animation. And then Jurri told me about the story, and I was thinking, oh, this is perfect. I don't really know the people in my group yet, but then they're all interested in. So I was thinking we can make something out of it. It would probably very nice. And then, this story was so powerful, and so I was hoping, that everybody can see it and watch it and hear it. That was my wish and plan.
So one of the things that happened besides her part of the story is when I was writing this at the church in Northridge with Linda LaRue, I would always meet with Linda every 2 weeks to present my writing. And what happens is somehow one of the kids would get highlighted to me, and I'd get their title of their story and the first sentence. And that happened exactly with the new kid and with Maddie. And what was interesting is I presented the story to Linda, and when I was done reading, I looked up and Linda was crying badly. Almost way more than even Alisha is right now. And I go, what is wrong, Linda? She goes, you have no idea what you've written. I go, what do you mean? And she explained to me, Maddie's mom is Kim, and Kim has been telling me, Linda, for the past 2 weeks that they keep seeing a girl walking to school and is always getting into trouble because she's always late, because she has to walk to school. She doesn't have a ride. And Kim wanted to do something about it. And they didn't know. And Linda said, you just wrote that story. Now, I never knew any of that information. I never knew anything about Maddie or the girl walking to school. I simply got the story and got Maddie and got the download. And so Linda's like, well, what do we do? I said, well, the story tells us. So Linda and Kim and Maddie got a bunch of stuff bought for the girl and put it in a bag. And then Kim, this is how I remember my end of the story, is that Kim had the story and she wasn't sure if she would give the girl the story or not. And so she decided not to. So she gives the girl the bag of all the stuff and goes back to her car and finds out she left the story in the bag. That's the last thing I knew about this event. And I tried reaching out to Linda and Kim or Maddie years later, recently this past year, to have them on the show, but they were not able to be on the show. But this is the way I remember it. And I completely remember how wonderful it was that the gift that I carry was reaching not just one of the kids in the class, but also the people in the community outside and how their lives were being impacted. And it really gave me a sense that, like Alisha said, about someone is watching over me and sees me when I don't think anyone else sees me. So Alisha, then Alisha and I started dating, going to Disneyland a lot, and a lot of water has gone under the bridge, but now we're in Wyoming, and she had the idea of making this into a business. And so I'd like, Alisha, would you mind telling the audience what we're offering today for free as an opportunity for you in the audience?
So the things we're gonna do, we want to give you guys an opportunity to experience, to receive your own legends.
Your own story.
Yeah, own story. Because I mean, when I heard about this, I asking him, and then I got 5 stories. That's how I enjoy these old stories. And then I hear someone else's story, still touches my heart and then speaks to me. So I really strongly believe this is a good opportunity for you to just receive a free story from Jurri. And then it's just so simple. Go to our website, legendsofthewind.com, and just subscribe
to our newsletter.
And then you also get receive an ebook. It will deliver it to you by email. And
that's
then,
the Fire Bear, right?
Yeah, Fire Bear.
The Fire Bear,
and
right?
And then also automatically enroll receiving a free story. So we haven't decided how many people we gonna do, right?
Right now we'll probably select 2 at first. So we're gonna give this opportunity about 2 weeks from today. So within the next 2 weeks, we will randomly select 2 people to receive a story from me. And then what we ask for you to do is that if you do win the story, we would like you to be on the podcast, and I will deliver the story to you live on the show. Just so you know, if you look in our YouTube channel and you look at the story or the video about Louisa, just a few weeks ago, I delivered for the first time live her story on her Instagram, and we reworked it for YouTube. And so you can actually go back into our library and look up Louisa and see what happens when you receive your own story. So I would highly recommend you do that. We would definitely want to get people more aware of this opportunity and how unique it is. And we want to encourage you. We want to lift you up and help you find your own story. So Alisha, regarding the new kid, besides seeing and having someone else that sees the invisible child, right? Is there anything else that story speaks to you about? Is there anything about Maddie or the visuals in the story? Anything else that sticks out to you?
I mean, I like adventure story all the time, and so the thing that she can fly,
Mm-hmm.
and then just see someone else's life, or even the swirling and all that. It's pretty exciting. I mean, I can picture it, and then I feel like I'm experiencing as a Maddie in the story, and then. So it's just fantastic feeling, and I actually want to be a Maddie too.
Right. And we actually created an audiobook version of this story with amazing music and sound design. And then a little bit later sometime, Alisha will be creating an illustration for this story too. And so if you're also interested, we have products on our website. If you go to legendsofthewind.com and you can go to the store there, you can find other illustrations and artwork from Alisha. And we're going to be releasing our book for everyone to purchase later. And that's being finalized right now, actually. So if there's anyone out there that wants to ask a question on chat, we'll look at chat real quick. And then we'll wrap it up. Is there anyone that has a comment or question out there? Okay. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Alisha, for being part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's quite an adventure, and we thank you so much for being with us today. Thank you very much, and we're Legends of the Wind. Thanks.